food prices are going up. Now, they're only going up because supply is being restricted. Countries are hanging on to their food. So do we want to feed the world, or do we want to feel good that we're saving the climate? And that's going to be a real contest now, because some people are going very hungry.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Flow Morning Show. It's time for us to take a look at an important topic, and that is the carbon price and whether or not there actually is one. Well, the Financial Review has reported that the Australian carbon offset have reached $20 a tonne for the first time since the carbon price was revoked in mid-2014. And further gains are expected as financial players enter the market, even in the absence of a formal net zero emission target. To talk about this morning, I'm joined by Ricky Lambert from Flow News 24. How are you, Ricky?
Great, thanks, Wayne.
Well, this is a very interesting point because how is it if the Morrison government doesn't have a carbon price, but with financial players entering the market, then suddenly we do have a carbon price?
Well, there has been one for some time in the domain of the Macquarie Street bankers in their pinstripe suits. They're very happily applying a carbon price, but the way they're doing it is all of these corporate bodies are saying, well, we're going to apply a carbon price whether the government does it or not. And at the end, you and I and everyone else is paying for it in the prices you pay for your consumable goods, such as airfares if you fly on Qantas.
So explain the Qantas situation for us, because we mentioned it yesterday about how farmland can be purchased for them to offset their carbon.
Well, either Qantas purchases the farmland or they buy from the farmer a carbon credit, which is the farmer's decision not to farm or to plant trees instead of crops. And that is then bought by Qantas to say, well, we burn all that aviation gas, and so we're going to offset that with the trees that you're using on your farm.
So what are the alternatives then if they don't have a carbon price, and they're obviously playing in the world economy, the corporate companies that we're talking about? What is the other option?
Well, the lament that these bankers and others are saying in the financial press today is that our carbon price is only at $20, like we just got to $20, but they're hoping it'll get to $50 because they're looking at the international prices where governments have imposed carbon prices. So what a Qantas or others will do, because the planet has a climate that is the whole planet is climate wise, so yes, they can buy a carbon credit from a Swedish farm, for instance, or a South African farm. So the concern the Australian market has on carbon is if we don't raise our price, it's not competitive. We will be losing out to other countries.
So Net Zero, the National Farmers Federation, says that farming will be carbon neutral, and yet if we read into what the corporate Australian executives are saying is that we're going to be in effect taking farmland away. How then does if you like, the farming sector say that they're net zero? They simply wouldn't be able to produce the same amount of crops that they claim that they're going to produce.
Well, when we do the Friday Farmgate report on Fridays about agriculture and look at the prices all over the world, food prices are going up. Now, they're only going up because supply is being restricted. Countries are hanging on to their food. So do we want to feed the world, or do we want to feel good that we're saving the climate? And that's going to be a real contest now, because some people are going very hungry.
It's going to be a very real issue. And is it one that we can get any commentary from the farming sector? Say the National Farmers Federation, their commentary up till now has been that they will be net zero or carbon neutral, if you like, by 2050. Is their commentary supporting what the corporate business is saying?
Well, the NFF seem to want to have their cake and eat it here. They want to have a net zero for farmers, and they say, there's a market opportunity for farmers to sell these carbon offsets through soil sequestration or planting trees, but they also want to get to 100 billion in agricultural production in 7.5 years' time. It's going to be a Herculean challenge to do both of those things at the same time.
It's interesting, you say having your cake and eating it too, but what are the ingredients in the cake? Might be the better question to ask. Food production is going to get much more difficult, particularly with price going up and the implication of the comparative or the comparison that carbon is having within the marketplace. Very good topic of discussion here on Flow News 24. Thanks, Ricky, for joining us.